This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, this is a tutorial session on how to use GoToMeeting and Discord for brainstorming classes. And what I'm going to do first is start out talking about GoToMeeting and how to use the GoToMeeting interface during a class. And then next, I'm going to talk about Discord and again, how to use its interface for classes, homework, etc. And at the end, there'll be a Q&A session. And I'm also going to start out using my screen sharing to show you GoToMeeting. Here we are. And I'm going to start out using some screenshots of GoToMeeting because I cannot show the actual beginning parts of signing in and share a screen at the same time. So anyway, this is what you'll see when you start up a GoToMeeting class. You'll receive a link in your email for this. And what you can do is, since this is like a lobby or a waiting room, you can click this little pencil symbol and change your name. Or if you'd like, you can wait for the class to start. And once the class starts, it'll look something like this. At the top is usually the admin or the person who set up the class, and then down below there will be the different symbols of the different students who show up. In this case, as you can see on the bottom, the microphone's off, the camera's off, there's no screen sharing, and they have an option to leave. What this all means is that you can't see a camera and you can't hear what the person is saying. If I were to talk, if I was in this room, this example. Moving on, as you can see here, there is a chat box, and also it shows the number of participants as well as their names. And what's really important is being able to read the chats, because sometimes people ask questions, sometimes you have a question, and you can just message everybody. In this case, I said hello. You type right here, enter your message, and down below here, you would see that it says everyone. That's because the message can reach everybody. But if you'd like to message someone privately, click on these two arrows. And as you can see, you can choose a specific person to message, and then the box is actually a different color. So you can tell that it's a private message between you and someone else. I have this window, this hidden GoToMeeting window. I'm just moving around. This icon, these buttons over here, it's called a view mode. And if you want to see everyone who's in the class, you choose everyone. But if in the case of a class where the teacher is using their webcam to show something, such as a traditional drawing or painting, you'd want to go down to active cameras. That way, the webcam of the instructor will be enlarged, and then you'll be able to see that with a higher resolution. And of course, sometimes people enter and they don't see anyone because perhaps it's on who's talking or hide everyone. So it's something to always look out for in case of changing circumstances or a strange login. As you can see, it's under view everyone, so I can see everyone. There's only 2 people, so these 2 boxes are quite large, but if there's 20 people or 50 people, the boxes are much smaller. And then this part is for changing your name, which is really important because when you enter the class with the link, you'll still need to identify yourself as a student. And in order to do that, sometimes it just doesn't provide your name automatically, so you're going to have to change it on your own. The admins will, of course, ask you if when they're taking roll. And the way to change your name is to click this GoToMeeting button and go down to edit your name and email. And in doing so, you'll be prompted to change your name and your email. Really simple. Next thing is, I believe, showing what a presentation looked like. This is typically what it would look like. And as you notice at the top, there are the different students. The bottom is the presentation that one of the people are showing. And this can be enlarged in 2 ways. The first way is if you notice this white bar that's between the participant names and the presentation, there's a white bar, and right in the middle there's kind of a button. It's very thin. You either double click it or just click it if you have a mouse, and you can go up or down and it will change the size of this name area, and will also simultaneously enlarge this entire presentation. But if you still need more room to see, because often we might, the next thing you can do is, if you see these icons over here, these are the zoom options. There's zoom in, zoom out, and in the middle is actually a button itself. Not only does it tell you the level of percentage that you're zoomed in, but also, as you see, I changed it, but also if you click on it, you can see there's actual size, scale to fit, and zoom to. Actual size will probably just give you something like this. Scale to fit will make it smaller. And the way that's, the reason that's important is because sometimes you'll zoom in and it won't actually look like that. It'll be way more zoomed in. It's just different with the different tools and demos that people use. So it varies. But sometimes it'll be way zoomed in. You'll only be able to see maybe this box, and you won't be able to zoom out fully to see the entirety of the screen. And it won't let you zoom out past 50%, back to like, 40%, 30 or 20%, etc. So the way to do that, to change it, is you have to click on the middle button with the percentage, go down to scale to fit. And then once you do that, it'll shrink it down so you'll see the entire screen on this presentation mode. That is for GoToMeeting. That's it for GoToMeeting. But now I'd like to show you a bit of Discord. Because again, when you first register for the class, you'll eventually get a link both to the GoToMeeting and to the Discord. And once you click on the Discord link, you'll go to this page. But something I'd like everyone to keep in mind is, once you accept this invite, Discord's going to do one of two things. It's either going to make a new account for you and try to make that account join, or if you're already logged in, then your Discord account that you already have will be what's gets made to join the class. And normally, if you already have a Discord, you don't want to have to make a new one. So you should sign in first, and then you can accept the invite. And then it'll spin around once it's accepting the invite. Sometimes it has a captcha. Got to go through that. And this is what a essentially beginner, very starter Discord account page will look like. That's joined one class. And if you notice on the left, there's the different icons. There's this icon with the most colors, which says GT Flash. This is a class, and you can, as long as you have a link, you'll be able to join multiple ones of these. But in order to actually interact with the class, you're going to have to be verified as a student. And I'll get into that in a moment, but I want to explain a couple things of terminology for you. The first is, this class is actually called a server. And that's relevant because it's going to be referred to that constantly, because there's tons of different classes, tons of different servers that you can make, you can join, that exist. And in addition to this server, there are inside of it, it's kind of like a file system where there's the main, you could say the main folder, and then inside there's like subfolders. But you only see two subfolders at the moment, and these are called channels. And when you first enter a class, once you accept the invite, you'll just see two channels. There's the rules and then the welcome page. And let me just, okay, so I'm going to show you how to change your name, because in order to get verified, and then you can see all the other different channels and interact with the class, turn in homework, watch recordings, etc., you're going to need to make sure your name is the one that you registered for the class with. And the admins will ask you if it isn't changed, which is fine, but until it happens, you won't be able to see anything but these two channels, and you can't really do anything until it's changed. So in order to change your name, you go to this little icon here, this little down arrow, click on it. You see a drop-down menu. It says Edit Server Profile. Click on that. This page will pop up. And notice at the top it says Profiles. There's User Profile and Server Profile. The user profile is your main profile. You don't really want to change that, and you don't have to. But in this case, I just had an example where I changed the server profile. This is just me changing my name for the class. My original name in this particular account was Bard on a Bridge, just a random name I thought of, and I wanted to change it to my name so the potential admin could see it. And this spot, server nickname, would have Bard on a Bridge, but then I changed it to Nelson #2, highlighted it for you. Yep, as simple as that. And then I believe you can just hit escape or X, and then that should do it. And go back to the welcome panel of this class. You notice on the bottom, still says Nelson 2. This is the name. It takes the admins sometimes up to a day to see your name has been changed and then verify it. And when it does, instead of it being bolded white, it'll be bolded blue. And notice, I'm going to change in a second. Notice on this left side, these two channels, there'll be many more that'll pop up, as you can see. Also, the name has been made blue. It's now a student who's been verified. And there's various channels that you're all going to be using for the class. The announcements channel will, of course, have the announcements, something like scholarships or any number of other things that the school announces. The class link at the top will have your link to your live class that you can access the link anytime, but the class will only be up and running once it's opened by an admin like myself. Then below there's class recordings, which about a day after each class is done, a recording is going to be posted and it's a link. I'll show you this all in a minute. I have some screenshots of that as well. Notes, resources, work in progress, etc. This stuff is all pretty self-explanatory, although general is kind of just generally whatever you want to talk about or say that's related to the class, questions, and whatnot. And here's an example of what the class link would look like at the very top. Usually one of our other admins posts it, and I just block this off for any future students who see this in another class besides GT Flash. And then going down to class recording, it'll be labeled like week 1, week 2 recording. And again, you just click on this link, it'll open a new page, and then you'll be able to play the recording anytime and be able to watch it until it is deleted at the end of the term. And next to general, here's an example of what the general page looks like. Something to keep in mind, if you see at everyone or at your name or at someone else's name, this is a something that's supposed to essentially get people's attention, and it'll let everyone know. I'll show you an example of that in a few minutes. But again, this is just me saying that class is going to start. Okay, and next, so there's two types of channels. There's the text channels where you can type things. I'll go back for a second and see everything typed, and there's even images that have been posted. And down below it says voice channels. There's a text channel here, but there's also this other icon for these other channels. This one says lounge. Once you click on it, you'll enter a room where you cannot type, but instead you're actually going to be, your microphone's going to be on, your camera is going to be on, and you can talk to people, you can listen to music, and this is pretty useful for essentially conferencing as well as just having like a art session or homework session with fellow students. And something to note at the bottom here, this little microphone icon, it will be unmuted. Currently it's unmuted, which means that people can hear you as long as you're in this room, this conference room. And the way to mute it is to just click on it, and as you see, there's like a red slash that goes across it. And then also you can notice here it shows that it's muted. And one more thing to note is even if you log out, your account will remain inside of this conference room forever, basically, and you have to leave it. You have to disconnect. So you see this telephone and X symbol, you click on it, you disconnect, and then notice, okay, yeah, it just leaves. Didn't have a screenshot for it. Another thing is called direct messaging or just messaging. When you want to talk to other students, but you want it to be more private, or maybe you have a question for the teacher, and again, you want it to be more private, you can message people directly. And the way to do that, I want you to look on the left here again. This is my main Discord account. I have many, many channels and servers that I've collapsed here. But at the top, there's this Discord symbol button that you can click, and it will bring up all of your private messages as well as friends that you can add or even block. And one thing to note is if you are not on a server or in the same class as someone, and if they're not a friend, then if you try to message them, you will get basically an error message. This bot called Clyde will tell you it can't be delivered because you don't share a server or are a friend with them. So you're going to have to change that before you can message someone directly on Discord. This is it for the screenshots, but there are a couple other things I wanted to show you all here on Discord. All right, I'm going to be using on the left here this test server that I made, and you can make servers anytime. It's pretty simple. I'm not going to explain it here, but you can just look it up. It's also not really relevant for classes. They're already made for all of you. But notice there's this reddish orange number 1 here. When I mentioned earlier that someone can say at everyone and they start typing and then it kind of directly messages everyone on a particular server, that's what this is. It's essentially a marker that tells you there's a special message that everyone can see on this particular server that they should see or can see, but it makes it easier so it doesn't get lost. Basically, if it's like a file system, again, this is like a bookmark or a sticky note sticking up that you can see, and it's easy to read it. So anyway, I'm going to click on this server, and as you see, my fellow admin Taha messaged everyone, so this is a test message, and in doing so, it gave me that red icon, which disappeared the moment that I essentially read it. Another thing that I'd like to demonstrate is turning in homework. And at the bottom of every server of every class, there are homework channels. And I'd like to show you an example of uploading a file or an image. So at the bottom here, there's a plus sign. Click on it. There are 3 options. You want to click upload a file, and then it opens your file system, and then double click it. It's got the image, hit enter. It processes it, and then it's posted. And as you can see, if you click on it, you can also hit this other thing right here, and it'll make it larger, and then it'll open a new tab. You can turn in your homework this way if your homework is a bunch of images, and you can post as many of these one at a time as you'd like. As long as they're around the same time frame, they'll be ordered in order. But if you have something you're turning in, such as you're taking a 3D class like Intro to Blender or a storyboarding class and you have a PDF, then most likely it's going to be a very large file, and Discord might not allow you to post it because it has a file limit. I believe it's 2 to 5 megabytes, which is usually enough for images. But again, if you have a 600 panel PDF, it might be a little large, or an OBJ file that's also humongous. So, you probably have to use a Google Drive. Sometimes teachers have a Google Drive, but yeah, Discord might not be able to support it. Another thing is on the right here, there's all these different options. You can add a reaction. So we click on it and I don't know, hit this fire reaction. And as you see, a little icon here popped up at the bottom. And you can also do that for other people's comments. There's some stars. And in addition to that, let's say I wanted to reply specifically to Daha's message. I hit reply. Oops. And then hit enter. And then, as you can see, it has this little thing up here that says essentially that I replied to it and not simply posted something randomly. I think there are no real other things to go over. I guess one other thing, just more advanced. This little search bar here, let's say you had a conversation with someone and they told you some really great advice, but maybe that was a month ago and kind of lost the message. You can click here on the search. You can search the name of a person. You can search the specific words. You can do all sorts of specifications for the search. I just would normally just type in the person's name and hit enter, and then you can just scroll up and down to see where they possibly mentioned that great advice. I think that's it for now. And if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Lily, did you have any more questions?
No, it was, I understood everything and thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
Then I guess we're good. And thank you very much, everybody, for those of you who are watching in the future. Hope you have great classes. And if you have any more questions, you can always direct message us admins, and we'll be happy to help you. So thank you very much.